Knowledge Providers, Global Speakers Bureau. We're launching another successful year of our podcast. And as we enter 2024, we'd like to highlight our speakers at Global Speakers Bureau. We are fortunate enough to have a relationship with the likes of Camille Wardrop Alleyne, our expert on space and everything else. Camille, it is a great pleasure to welcome you to Knowledge Providers Podcast. And congratulations on 29 plus years with NASA. You are now officially retired from your position.
Thank you so much, Sergio, for having me. And it is an absolute pleasure to be talking with you today and to be part of your Speakers Bureau. Yes, it is official. I have retired from the US government and my career at NASA after 29 plus years. It's been an extraordinary journey. And I talk about being that little 6-year-old girl who grew up in Trinidad and Tobago and was sitting on the trunk of my dad's car, dreaming about space, to actually being on the front line of the premier space program in the world in not just ordinary ways, but extraordinary ways, and advancing my career to senior leadership at the agency. So it's been extraordinary, and I am excited to make the transition to what's next.
And what's next is you probably have your hands filled. What is your 12 months ahead looking like? I know you've mentioned you have another project coming in and a company and business enterprise.
Absolutely. So, when I left NASA, I left as the deputy program manager for the Commercial LEO Development Program, which is really NASA's way of commercializing low Earth orbit and space, and really building a foundation for a robust and sustainable economy in space. And so I was one of the leading architects of that space economy strategy. And so I was on the front line of being with companies and empowering companies through this public-private partnership where NASA and industry are working together to create this space economy. And so I thought I would, once I retire, really step into the world of business and to the world of space in a new commercial way. And so my next venture is a global space solutions company called Arusha Space, where I serve as the founder and CEO. And we are committed to empowering and enabling space around the world. The next 10 years, Sergio, are going to be the most exciting and going to see the most growth in the space industry in terms of the interest of being a part of space by many countries around the world. And so our company is going to bring the best and the brightest minds in the space industry to empowering and enabling space access globally.
And I will come back to that idea and to that initiative of yours at the later stage of our interview. But I want to reverse to the very beginnings. You are a immigrant from Trinidad Tobago, as we understand, and you are a perfect example of what is possible in these great United States. How and when, at what point did you realize that the STEM is something you want to be involved with?
Well, in high school, I was one of 10 out of a graduating class of 100 girls who studied the sciences and did really well in math. So math and science were the core of my foundation and what I had an affinity for. And so as I was deciding, college was not gonna not be a thing. I was gonna migrate to the US to study and to be with my family. I was thinking, what can I do with math and science? And so at the time, really all your parents said was be a doctor, or be a lawyer, or be an accountant, or be a teacher, or be a nurse. And I knew I didn't want to do any of those things. But we had a friend who was an engineer, and not sure what that was, but I knew math and science were the foundation of engineering. And so my love for planes had me decide that I was going to study aeronautical engineering. But it wasn't until I was a freshman in college, just migrated to the United States. And this on January 28th, 1986, the Space Shuttle Challenger blew up upon launch. And when I tell you, Sergio, the trajectory of my life changed forever because I was like, ah, I don't, planes? No, rockets, spacecraft, NASA, astronaut. And I switched my studies from aeronautical to aerospace engineering. And 6 years after that, I was driving into the gates of Kennedy Space Center, not realizing that I had the most extraordinary career ahead of me.
And that career was extraordinary. It still is extraordinary and important on that issue to notice. From your experience, do you think that minorities, African Americans, immigrants from Caribbean islands are equally and adequately represented in our both armed forces, but also in the government institutions like NASA?
Not at all. I was definitely, I may not have been the first, but I was definitely the first female from the Caribbean to have done, to be a rocket scientist and to clearly have moved through the ranks at NASA. So no, usually immigrants don't have the kind of opportunities I had. But I think anything is possible with, if you are willing to dream it, you can be it. And if you are willing to work hard and have determination, set your goals, and I always say, most importantly, believe in yourself, then anything is possible. And I think for me, that was the cornerstone of what helped propel me forward into the ways in which I was able to contribute and participate.
I'm speaking to the message of your keynotes. Anything is possible, like you just mentioned. I would get this is one of the driving messages.
It's one of the driving messages that anything is possible. But also, I mean, the wealth of experience I have at this point in time. If you are interested in the future of space and the role of space science and technology in society and in shaping economies, absolutely, I'm your person. If you're interested in how do we inspire and motivate and empower young people to get into STEM fields, including space, I am your person. And if you're interested in empowering women and girls around the world, clearly my life serves as an example. I'm your person.
And so, a couple of questions stemming from what you just mentioned on inspiration. How do you inspire NASA astronaut? How do you inspire to be truly productive on that very high level? What would you say was the takeaway from your years of experience at NASA?
Well, so many people talk about the role of mentorship, right? Super important because nobody is an island. You need to have people around you who can help guide you, right, through your career. So mentorship was absolutely a key ingredient to my success. But I would say more than that, it is building advocates for you, right? And advocates, I often say, are not people you could just reach out to and say, hey, can you be my advocate? No, the excellence of your work is what people start recognizing, and they want you on your team, on their team. And so they start speaking about you when you are not even in the room. So mentorship, advocacy, and then I would say a belief in yourself and what you bring to the table, and being able to find your voice, an authentic voice. And I think that was my superpower, right? I retired last week, and the level of acknowledgement and appreciation that was showed for my contributions, I, oh, Sergio, when I tell you, I was floored because along the way, you don't recognize how you are impacting people by who you're being. And for me, what I brought to my spaces, to my career, to the people I met, was my authenticity, my hard work, and my passion and commitment. And at the end of the day, that is what people felt, from me. And so I would say, find a way to find your voice, your true, authentic voice, and bring that to the spaces that you are in. And you would not believe how much of a difference it makes, not just for the mission that you're part of, but for the people that you're working with.
And I think that's even more important now during the post-pandemic years when we really struggle with motivation, with getting people excited about what's possible.
Yes, for sure, 1000%. And yeah, I think a lot of people are scared to show up as their best and authentic self, right? Because they're like, well, are people gonna accept me? Are people gonna like me? You cannot concern yourself with that. Like, you have no control over that. What you have control of is what you bring to the table. And I think throughout the years, I really recognize that that was what made the difference for me and for the people around me.
And this is the message you are now spreading throughout during your keynotes. Camille, what's ahead for you? I mean, if I'll be on the top of the world, my concern would be, hey, I'm already on the top of the world. Like,
Yeah.
what now?
But there's no limit to what we could do, Sergio. Just because I climbed a major mountain doesn't mean there aren't any other mountains to climb. So I am scaling up my impact on the world through my entrepreneurial journey. And really, I know I will serve as an example, especially for women, right? Because sometimes we feel like, can we do this? Is it too late to follow your dreams? You may have other dreams that you've fulfilled, and you're like, oh, it's too late. What are people gonna say? No, you just, it's your journey and you just go for it. And that's what I'm doing now. And I think my life is going to serve as an example, even beyond the work that I've done for NASA.
Let's talk women representation for a second, because again, we do see trends shifting. More and more suites are being occupied by women. Still not enough. Again, I would take us back to the pandemic years where 40% of working women had to quit their workforce because they simply made less than the childcare that they had to pay for their children. How can we be truly impactful, and how important it is that we work on ourselves to better up, to make sure that we have this mutual understanding that we need more women present and
Yeah.
represented.
I think, the people in positions of authority and power and that could make those decisions are men. And so I would say, men, you have wives, you have daughters, you have mothers, you have aunts. And don't you want them to be able to be everything they could be, right? And so it means being able to create those spaces that allow women to show up in the ways that we show up. If we have children, we are mothers, like allow us to not be, I think, penalized for having to leave to take care of our children or pick up our child or that kind of thing. So I think there's a lot of conversation still to be had, one for women in leadership positions, for women in the C-suite, for women in positions of authority, for women on boards, for women in the fields of science and technology, right? There's a lot of work we still have to do in advancing that gender parity and that gender equity agenda. And so it's really important to have those type of conversations in very safe and non-judgmental ways, right? Because I think that's the only time people are open to receiving it and really wanting to make a difference in that way.
And the importance of a mission statement. I've heard you reiterate at least once or twice your mission statements that you have for your career. So in the times when the time flies so fast, the technological advancements change so rapidly, the geopolitical instability is greater day by day. How important it is for us to kind of slow down and really rethink our mission statement for our lives. So to, like you said, don't miss that opportunity to go into fields like to pursue our dream jobs, dream careers.
For sure. That's so important to me. I've always had this mantra of life is not worth living if you're not doing what you love. Because this is not a dress rehearsal. This is it, is one and done. Okay. You might as well do the things you're passionate about. And I know a lot of times people are scared, right? We want to be comfortable. Comfort is where we feel the best as humans, but where we actually grow is outside of our comfort zone, is being able to step out of that box. And Sergio, I'm telling you, I didn't have to retire. I'm still kind of young. I still had quite a few years ahead of me. But my goal and dream of owning my own company, owning my own business, leading my own team, and bringing my voice and vision to the world required me to step outside of the comfort of being in this position and being in this institution for 3 decades and really it's like stepping off the cliff and allowing yourself to soar. And it's only then that we recognize and we grow the most in our lives. And so, yeah, it's scary. And I understand. I absolutely understand how hard it would be to do that. It took me 5 years to get here, to the point where I was like, it is time. It is time, because the noise was getting so much louder. The universe was like, you want to do this? Come on, And so I just knew it was the time, and I prepared for it. I didn't just jump. I prepared, I put things in place to be able to do this. And so I just think it's never too late. It really is never too late to really kind of pursue the things you really, really, really in your heart love to do.
So how is 2024 looking like for you? What's the awesome year? How would you say
2024? Oh my gosh. So I am still like reconditioning my mind to be like, my time is my own. I could set my own hours. I could travel. I just booked a trip to not only to do some business, but also to see my family. And I don't have to get back to Houston. I could stay and work there for as long as I want. Like, that wasn't possible before. So that freedom to accept invitations that I want to accept or not, or speak about what I want to speak or not, is what I am most looking forward to. And so it's shaping up to be an extraordinary start of a new journey.
And we are looking so much to have you. And I bet anyone who listens to this conversation right now is keen to book you as their keynote speaker. So many great nuggets. Thank you so much, Camille, for spending your time with us on your retirement. Congratulating you on 3 decades of a really important job on the behalf of us all. And what is there to wish you? Nothing but health, nothing but the constant smile. And we're looking forward to attending many of your keynotes. Thank you for time spent today with us.
I appreciate it so much, Sergio, and I look forward to being able to share my vision and myself with the world. So thank you for that opportunity.
And this was Knowledge Providers Podcast here at the Global Speakers Bureau. If you're interested in booking Camille, we are here to make this happen for you. Camille Wardrop Alleyne, thank you so much for being a guest on our podcast. I'm Sergio Jemski, Global Speakers Bureau. Have a wonderful 2024.